And in this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast, we have on Mr. Chris Felton. He has an amazing story of inspiration and overcoming adversity. And he has a new book out called Think and Grow You. He talks about his money mindset. He talks about how you need to have your A and your B figured out, how you can go from being stuck to unstuck, and how you can actually get out of your own way and level up your life. We're going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Cary Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee-yee. All right, Mr. Chris Felton, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my man. I'm super excited to rock the mic with you.
Cary, awesome to be here, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a fun one. I mean, you're an Amazon best-selling author. You're a seven-figure entrepreneur. You're the founder and principal of your own financial services firm, which you started in 1999. You've helped tens of thousands of people internationally overcome the resistance to change and to create more success, peace, and impact in their life. And you got a new book out called Think and Grow You, which I love the title. You know, it really is a nod to Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich. And I love that you went there, because this is a topic, like, it all starts inside our own mind. Our success is largely dictated by our unconscious and our conscious mind. And I know you talk a lot about this, and you've had a very inspiring journey full of adversity, which we're going to get into some of it. And you have this book that is really showcasing what you've learned from this amazing journey, these trials, these tribulations, and then on your way to becoming a successful entrepreneur. I know you also have a book with your wife called Couples Money, which I heard you on Ed Mylett's show talking about it. And I think these are topics that, like money, the money mindset, thinking about, you know, what are your self-limiting beliefs? Like it gets a little bit nuanced, and people, I think they gloss over them. They want to get right to the tactics, you know? And so it's something that I'm very passionate about, especially if you want to become a happy hustler. This is a topic you got to really focus on. Now, before we get into all this good stuff, Chris, I do want to ask you, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Well, you know, I'm 51 and I call myself a recovered CPA, right? But I've seen Metallica 7 times.
Nice.
Nobody would ever put this face at a Metallica concert ever.
That is so funny. Yeah. Now I got a mental of you just like fully rocking out. Just well, like
I had the mullet, brother. I had the, you know, business in the front, party in the back for, you know,
oh, heck yeah,
until college. So
oh my goodness, that's awesome. I had a red rat tail for a while, and I thought that was really cool. And now I have a handlebar mustache, so I don't think my perspective has shifted that much. But anyway, that's awesome, man. I love that fun fact. Now, Chris, I do want to start things off with a bang. Like, you wrote this book, Think and Grow You. Why'd you write it?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 24 years. I know what it's like to live in fear, doubt, worry. I know, Cary, what it feels like. You know, you feel like you're doing everything possible, but nothing changes. I don't know if you've ever been in that mode. And, you know, I was really, really stuck. And having coached thousands of people, and I know you can attest to this, it's painful as a coach to watch people get so stuck that they think that giving up on their goals, dreams, and aspirations is really the only path. And I was really close to doing that very thing, but I didn't, because what I realized, and we talked about it in the beginning, was my way of manipulating the outside world and insisting on staying the same. I call it rearranging the furniture on the deck of the Titanic, right? It wasn't it wasn't working very well. And I realized that I had to humble down. I had to change. And so I went all in on my personal growth and development. I invested 6 figures plus. I spent thousands of hours really studying, what was creating broke and stuck and all these horrible things going on in my life. And one of my favorite quotes is from Mel Robbins. It doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen over time. And eventually, me and my wife had a miraculous transformation, and I had a personal transformation in just about every area of my life. So
wow.
I want people to invest a fraction of the money and a fraction of the time that I went in, learn from my stupidity and stupid mistakes. And my goal and my prayer is to make a big impact. And then hopefully people will get better results in a shorter time than I did. So that's why I did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's powerful because I think there's a lot of happy hustlers out there listening that maybe feel stuck in their life in one area or another. Maybe it's personally, maybe it's professionally, maybe it's both. And it's a hard problem to really solve. It's like, how do you, because everyone's so different in their own, environments, their own realities, but how do you actually get out of your own way and get unstuck?
Well, the first thing is, for me, and I have a ton of exercises in the book, and I wrote it in such a way that literally somebody can grab a chapter and apply a concept that basically I use to get unstuck. But for me, it's always about taking an inventory of my thinking. And one of my favorite, formulas is me plus a thought equals a result. And so if I don't like the result, there's me and then there's my thinking. And so that's where I always start, like point A. Like a lot of people are like, well, this is what I want. Here's my point B, but they don't know their point A. And so for me, the capacity to just sit down and write, like I had a bad relationship with money. I had to write, even though I was a CPA and a financial advisor, Cary, I was broke. I knew what to do, but what were the thoughts? And then my coach said, sit down, write the word money at the top of a journal, stay with it. And I was there for a couple hours. Write down everything you make up about that word. And it was very obvious. Hard to make, hard to keep. Rich people are bad. They make money on the backs of poor people. Money won't make me happy. I mean, dude, there was a litany of limiting beliefs, and it was pretty obvious why I was broke. So for me, define point A, figure out the thinking that's creating the result. You got to figure that out first.
Yeah, that's a great equation. Me plus a thought equals a result. So if you don't like the result, you got to change the thought. And, you use this example, like a lot of people know how to lose weight, right? They eat healthy, they exercise, you get good sleep, you drink plenty of water. I know this is like common knowledge, right? But what is the statistic? 70% of Americans are overweight or obese, so it's like having the knowledge and then implementing it is two completely different things. Just like you had the money knowledge and you knew what you needed to do to be wealthy and to achieve financial abundance, but you weren't practicing it. And I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with, and I know I've struggled with it, like the actual implementation of the knowledge in the past. Let's go a little deeper here, because I think this is like really important to get to some of those self-limiting beliefs. You talked about the money mindset and, some of those shackles that you put on yourself around money. When you are retraining your subconscious brain and your conscious brain to think differently, to act differently, to be differently, what is that process look like in order to actually, break the chains?
Yeah, I mean, in my commitment, because we were $250,000 in credit card debt, and my wife was, 1 foot out the door, and I'm a financial services entrepreneur in the Great Recession, and so, it was for me, Cary. It was, are you interested or are you committed? And people that are interested in being healthy, people that are interested in being financially free, if you're just interested, the first obstacle or roadblock you face you'll crater. And I'd done that, but I was committed, and I told my wife, and I looked at her and I said, we will never be back here again. And I felt it in my heart and in my bones. And she said, what are you going to do about it? I'm just like, I am all in on changing. I'm like an Olympic athlete with their sport. Is an Olympic athlete interested, or are they committed? They're committed. But my coach said, Chris, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace, because you've had garbage thinking for decades. You're not going to spin out of it in 21 days. Okay, your life right now is like a black hourglass an hourglass of black sand, and your job is to drop a little piece of gold in there every single day. And that is you doing the work, keeping your word, executing your plan. Anyway, so what became the crux, Cary, was me getting up early, having 30 minutes to an hour of personal growth time, personal development time, journaling, reading, visualizing, and dropping a piece of gold in that black, hourglass of. And he said, and eventually it'll become gold. And if you work on yourself 30 minutes a day over 52 weeks, that's 4.5 working weeks of you working on you over a decade. So do what you can that day, and then you got to go execute your plan, whether you feel like you're ready or not. And so that, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but it was the commitment to change. And then it was the daily, I call it going to the mental gym every day. People go to the physical gym. I go to the mental gym every single day, because if I'm not intentional about growing, then I'm in decay mode.
Yeah, I 100% resonate with that. I have something called the 30-30-30 system of personal development. I read 30 minutes in the morning, I listen to 30 minutes in the afternoon, and I watch 30 minutes in the evening, all inspirational and educational content. And that 90 minutes really just sets me up for growth. And I say something similar. You're either growing and evolving, or you're shrinking and dissolving, and those are your options, right? I love that you mentioned, are you interested? Or are you committed? And I want all the happy hustlers out there to actually think about right now, what are you? Like, are you just interested in achieving financial abundance, or having a loving relationship with your partner, or, maybe giving back philanthropically? Are you interested, or are you actually committed and willing to do the work and actually, do it when you don't feel like it? That's like the discipline. I know Jocko Willink talks about, discipline equals freedom. And this is something I really appreciate. Like that phrase has actually stuck with me. And it's like, if you want success, if you want, whatever your version of success is, I don't just talk about success financially. I talk about it like your holistic version of success, where your family, your friends, people like who know you the best actually will talk great about you behind your back, like that's the kind of success, when your kids are like, my dad is there, or my mom is present. Like, this is the kind of success that the happy hustlers strive for, this holistic happiness. For you specifically, I know your life was in shambles and you turned it around with this just consistent daily action. Was it something that, it took like a breakthrough per se in the personal development, like growth that you were doing, or could you just attest to the compound effect? Or was there can you actually point to hey, this is something that was when I look back on the journey of some key catalyst moments, is there anything that stands out that you remember most about that personal development journey that you could share with the happy hustlers?
I think it's, the commitment to change was I was going to lose really, really big.
Yeah.
And what really was the impetus was recognizing the price that others were paying for me being the way I was. And so what happens is, especially the masses, they don't want to feel bad about themselves. So they don't want to look at their stuff. But if you don't look at your stuff, it gets worse. And one of my favorite quotes is, optimism and delusion sleep in the same bed together. And I was king optimist, deluded, delusional guy. And one of my goals is to, not be delusional and looking at my results. But that I was interested in financial success. But once I connected that, holy cow, man, like the financial stress in our house, Cary, it was so huge. Like my wife was having physical issues because the financial stress was horrible. My kids were 7 and 4. They're in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in Colorado. I hadn't seen them in months. It was a year before I could see them because I didn't have the money. I was drinking too much. I was a disaster. So the impetus of changing was, I'm like, dude, these are heavy prices. Yeah. Like, you got to freaking change. But along the way, I think just the number one skill of a world-class thinker is what's called objective reality. And objective reality is the capacity to look at your results and not beat yourself up, because that's what was going on with me. I didn't want to look at my results, and when I didn't have the results, I had so much guilt for being a bad dad. I had so much guilt for not, I'm a guy supposed to produce and deliver for my spouse. I wasn't delivering. And I was beating myself up and all that stuff. So when we decided to shift and Marlo brought out the bloody balance sheet and showed it to me and showed how much money we were leaking every month, I looked at it objectively. And I forgave myself and told her we would never be back here again. But I think the next thing was, we got clear on what we wanted, and it was, what do we want? What's the next step? What do we want? What's the next step? What do we want? What's the next step? And so the compounding of small steps over time is huge, and the masses think it's some big thing that needs to happen. But as you know, success is all about small things cared for. So we just we kept clear on what we wanted. And then we just one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And then eventually the bamboo tree sprouted, and it was freaking awesome.
Whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I got to tell you about something I'm super excited about. This is something very unique that we do at The Happy Hustle, and that is the Montana Mastermind Epic Adventures. See, you can listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, read books, acquire all this knowledge, but I believe the best way to achieve ultimate success and fulfillment is to actually align yourself and connect with like-minded, badass, high-performing, heart-centered humans. And that's why it's important to go to masterminds. Now, whether you go to the Happy Hustle masterminds or you go to other ones, that's on you. But I got to tell you about the one that we're doing upcoming in March, the 22nd through the 26th, which is going to be sweet, especially if you love snowboarding and skiing. If you're a high-performing male entrepreneur who's making over 6 figures, who wants to network with a rock star group of just badass, world-class happy hustlers while shredding some pow-pow, this may be for you. We have an amazing mountain mansion, which you could ski right into. We got a professional chef cooking up some delicious, healthy meals. We're going to be doing masterminds where we share wins and challenges and adversities and just how to overcome them. We're going to be soaking our bodies at natural thermal hot springs. We're going to be enjoying some super cool activities like ice fishing and hiking and campfires and other awesome stuff. And we're going to be digitally detoxing from our devices. That's most important. So if you're interested, hurry up and apply, because there's truly only a couple spots. This isn't like a tactic. We only have a couple spots left based on the number of beds in the mansion. So if you want in, you can go to thehappyhustle.com/mastermind. Okay. Now, and if you don't like skiing and snowboarding, no worries. We do have some amazing epic camping adventures coming up this summer. So check them out. If you like camping in the backcountry wilderness, if you want to learn primitive survival skills and fly fish and, dip in cold plunge, amazing alpine lakes and just hike up these remote mountain trails and really just connect with Pachamama, our beautiful planet, we do have these summer trips coming up too, which are filling up fast. So that's it. Let's get back to this episode, but I just wanted to let you know you can go to thehappyhustle.com/mastermind to apply today. All right, let's get back into it. Yeah. I mean, the objective reality, like that's something that I want everybody out there right now just to think about, like your own reality. And even go a step further, like think about your bank account, like right now, and just think like, is this where I want it to be? Yes or no. And listen, you got to give yourself grace. Chris and I are here. We both agree. You got to give yourself grace in this process. But you also got to be real with yourself, and you got to not lie to yourself and have that delusional thinking, or that I'm a lifelong optimist myself too. So I empathize, brother. That's definitely like, if the glass is always half full for me, but I do think it's almost been a detriment in some areas, where it's like you kind of, you just sweep it under the rug and oh no, it's okay. So you have to look at yourself, guys, everyone out there right now, think about where you're at in just, you can literally take your bank account and you can think about it. Is this where I want it to be? If not, you have to take accountability for your reality and think about that next step and actually commit to the alternative of being better, practicing financial literacy and educating yourself and going to the mental gym, right? Training. This is huge. I mean, I hope everyone is really taking this to heart. You talk about, this quote in the book, which I do really like. We're a miracle and a mess at the same time. This is something I think we can all really resonate with, we feel grateful to be alive. There's like so much to look at our life and just like, just be so blessed with. But at the same time, you think about some of your problems and you also think maybe how things could be different. What do you mean by this quote?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, we show up as perfect little babies, and, we don't have deserving and worthiness issues. We don't have head trash. We don't have, and then some along the way in the first few years of our life, we're told you're bad girl, bad boy, you're not this, you're not that, and we can't defend ourselves. And so we start piling on limiting beliefs, and, we beat ourselves up for our flaws, and, perfectionism is just a form of self-sabotage, and we did not come here to get perfect. And so when we're sitting there focusing on what we're not and we're beating ourselves up, it doesn't work, man. And what I talk a lot about the book, and I know you believe this, it's not time management, it's energy management. And I have better energy at 51 than I did at 41. And one of the reasons is I let go of a lot of stuff. I forgave a bunch of people. I just realized, like, I'm not here to get perfect. Like, I'm a mess. I got some things I got to work on. And yes, I want to get better, but I'm not going to make myself miserable because of my messes. And when my life transformed, I'm like, dude, you're kind of a badass. Right? I mean, you're kind of a badass dude, not egotistical, but like, come on, man. Like, it's a chapter in my book, like acknowledging ourselves. I got a story in there and I can't tell it or I'll lose it. But like, dude, it was the first time in my early 40s where I was like, damn, man, good freaking job. Right? Like, dude, everybody would have cratered back then. And man, and I lost it. I was on a ranch. And I was just like, the whisper. And that whisper for years had been like, you're not this, you're not that, you're not doing that. And this time it was like, good job, Chris Felton. And I lost it. Because, and guess what? In that moment, I still had flaws. I still had weaknesses. I still had all that stuff. But really getting back to, guys don't want to hear this. Dude, you 100% love, approve, and accept yourself. That's the foundation for greatness right there. And it's not about being delusional or having a big head. It's just an authentic, real feeling that's, dude, it's magnetic. And people want to be around that. And anyway, I could go all
Amen.
But it's really personal development's it's about getting us back to that baby, right?
Yeah.
When we showed up in pure love and joy, and we didn't judge people, and we didn't have all this garbage in our mind. It's just, for me, it's about, holy cow, like, I did a podcast this week, and Lay's like, I'm like, I probably should just listen to my kindergarten teacher when she said, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's, we got to get better. We got to be intentional about our growth. But, one of my quotes in the book, I think I use it multiple times. There's no happy ending to an unhappy journey. And if you're delaying your happiness for one day because you're going to be perfect and fixed, guess what? You're not broken. You're always going to be a miracle and a mess. But anyway, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
That gets me fired up. But
I like it, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, we see eye to eye in many different, pieces to the puzzle, but this is one that I really want to echo the point. Like, that's what the happy hustle is all about. Being happy within the hustle, knowing that if you don't find joy in the journey, you very well could get to the end of your journey and feel unfulfillment, discontentment, despair, angst, stress, because I've been there in my small capacity even with my tech startup in New York City. Like, we were climbing the mountaintop. I know it's a cliche statement, but like, we were doing the damn thing, grinding our face off. And I had a lot of success with my startup and my company, and my brother and business partner and best friend and I, which is all the same person, we were getting after it, and it's like, we were also a little bit of a beautiful mess in the process, but we realized how unfulfilled we were when we got there. And I think that's why it's so important. I really love that quote, man. There's no happy ending to an unhappy journey, so you have to really just stop and like look at your present reality and think, wow, like, I have so much to be grateful for. I have, even if it's small thing, I got 10 fingers. I almost just chopped one off. I mentioned to Chris with the knife right before this interview. My buddy sent me a new knife, and I just almost cut my thumb off. So I got to go probably get stitches after this. But anyway, but the point is, it's like, you could find gratitude in the journey, whatever you're doing. And that's what I think people, they oftentimes wait until they experience burnout, or they have a midlife crisis, or some type of catastrophic event to really change the perspective. But what Chris and I are saying is, you can change your perspective now. You can accept yourself fully. And you mentioned, do you love, approve, and accept yourself 100%? Like, I would venture to say the majority of people listening right now couldn't say yes to that question. And I don't even know if I could even, like, truly, like, if I am being transparent and vulnerable, like, I think, as a hard charging, type A, driven person, like, we want more, we want more for ourselves. We want to be a high performer. And in order to really be happy within the hustle, you have to accept yourself, love yourself, and approve of yourself, in your evolution. So this is some powerful stuff, man. I really, I think this is going to change some lives. And I know your book will as well. Where can people go? I'm sure they're like, all right, where do I get this book already? Where can people go if they do want to, pick up a copy? Do you have an audiobook version as well available? Just give us the links.
Yeah. chrisfelton.me, chrisfelton.me. You'll find the book. And Audible is a May-June exercise, so I'm in full book launch mode till the end of March. So, but yeah, Audible will be coming.
Yeah, I definitely think. I know I read my book and I put in some like interjections throughout and just like some fun stories. And I think for you got that personality and the charisma that I think your audiobook's going to be phenomenal. So I hope you don't just read it, but like expand upon it at the moment. That's one thing I would say is
great insight.
Yeah, just like give a little bit different take when you are doing it. But yeah, get the hardcover, guys. This is a powerful book. Think and Grow You. We'll link it up in the show notes as well, but chrisfelton.me, and that's FELTON.me. Now, I do want to ask you about your other book with your wife, Marlo. the couple's money, because like this is huge, like the money mindset, managing your money, having you know a united household, for lack of a better term, when it comes to money is, I think, a crux of a lot of relationships. Give us, the 30,000 foot viewpoint of that book as well, and just your philosophy around couples money.
Yeah. So the day we had a epic fight that kind of turned everything around for me. And basically what ended the fight was I asked her, why are we still married? And total silence. And she went upstairs to figure out if she should stay or she should go. And I sat there, and that's when I realized that I created all these messes. I was the common denominator of all my problems. Right? Wherever I've had a problem, I've always been there. And Cary, that was really like the first time in my life I took 100% responsibility for my divorce, my first wife, like the whole stuff. And so, to my wife's amazing credit, she went upstairs and she started focusing on what she loved about me, not what she was angry about. And it was transformational, because what happens in a couple is it's so easy to look at what's wrong with them. And it's so easy to look at the flaws. And I saw great things in her, but she was looking at what was wrong with me out of tremendous fear financially. And then her stress, Cary, was causing me to focus on her negative. And in her moment of extreme pain, she basically was like, there's many things I love about this guy that I don't want to live without. And so we got back together the next day. And like I said, we were $250,000 in credit card debt. And wow. I'm paying out, $5,200 a month in alimony and child support. And, I signed a stupid office lease I couldn't afford. I mean, it was horrible. We were majorly upside down. And Marlo said, we're not getting divorced. We're not declaring bankruptcy. We're not getting jobs. We're going to figure it out. And luckily, we had wealthy mentors in our life that they had wealth in every area of their life, not just money. She said, I'm going to interview all of them, and I'm going to figure out how they think and what they do. And then she was like, what are you going to do? And that's when I made that commitment that I'm like, honey, I'm all in. I'm changing. So that's what she did, man. She got on planes, trains, and automobiles for 2.5 years. And then she would come back and say, this is what they think. This is what they do. This is the planning. This is the mindset. And I would reveal to her, hey, here's this limiting belief. And, dad had it and grandpa had it, and, but this is what I'm doing to change it. And then, and then I think that the big thing, Cary, is we set a unifying goal. And most couples don't have unifying goals, right? One has their goals, and the other one doesn't know, because we're busy. Yeah. We're busy. And you add kids to the mix and all that. And so we were broke, and I said, what do you want? She's like, I want 100,000 saved. And after I gulped, and that felt like Mount Everest right then and there, I said, why? And we stayed in why for about 45 minutes, because people set goals on the how, but they don't link up the compelling emotional reasons. And she's like, how about why for you? I'm like, I never want to fight with you around money ever again. I don't want to feel this way. I want to see my kids. I want to be a good dad. I think we're getting handed a challenge. I think we're going to help millions of people, because we're going to figure this out. And so we came up with all these reasons, compelling emotional reasons, tied back to people, not stuff, tied back to people. And we focused on the first $10,000, which was the hardest goal I've ever set in my life. But then we hit it, and then we got momentum, and then we, just kind of blew up from there. But really, it was the unifying goal, the reasons why, and then the weekly check-in. Where are we? Why do we want this again? And for a good 2 years, Cary, you couldn't get me to spend $1 on anything that was not moving us closer towards our goal. We were unified, lockstep, and a couple together, it's not twice the power, it's like 10 times the power.
Yeah. Powerful stuff there, man. Unifying your vision with your partner. I think all the happy hustlers can take stock in this, whether it's a business partner, your lover. This is something that, like, you have to have not only a clear vision, but you got to have the emotionally charged why. I always call it the fuel to your fire. It's like, you're going to eventually hit adversity. Doesn't matter what you're striving for. And if you don't have a strong enough why, like Chris said, you're ultimately going to cave to the pressure or succumb to, our human behavior, which is default probably lazy or away from actually pain. It's more focused on protection, that fight or flight. So I think it's really important to have that compelling why. And then again, rehashing it every week. You said, right? You checked in every week. Like, just get a little bit technical and tactical if you would, because I know the happy hustlers like to get a little technical and tactical when it comes to managing couples' money. Like, how do you actually recommend, like, the best? Are we talking, like, do you have a joint account and then you each have your separate? I know Marlo was talking about your fun monies. Like, what do you actually recommend when it comes to, like, the structure of couples accounts?
Yeah, I mean, it's joint accounts and unifying accounts, and my wife took over the money. Yeah, I mean, I think the technical stuff's, like, super important, and having joint accounts, and but one of the big things, Cary, I did is I relented money control over to my wife, which she fought me on that for 2 years. And I was like, I got it figured out. I'm a CPA. I'm a financial advisor. Yeah. She used to be a hairstylist. Right, what do you know? Well, she had good money beliefs. Yeah. And then my coach would say, I hated this question. He's like, hey, Chris, based on results, how's your way working? I hated that question. Yeah. Now my agents hate that. I'm like, hey, based on results, how's your way working? They hate it anyway. Yeah. So, but I think the key is the weekly check-in meeting, the unifying goal, the check-ins with that. But really, what we did, Cary, which was huge, was we went on a cash diet, and it was 90-day cash diet. And we ate everything that was in the house, because we all have a lot of food in our house. So true. That never gets touched. And, because I had the habit, I was dying the death of 1,000 cuts, right? The mistake I was making was, well, once my business goes up, then I'm going to get my act together, more outside-in approach. And then when I really, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker changed my life, because he's got a quote in there: until you start managing the money that you have now, well, you won't see anymore. And I was like, oh. And so I had $5, $10, $15, $20 a day habits. And then I found a financial calculator, and I'm like, where am I blowing money? Happy hours, being a business owner. Well, I went out to dinner, and it was a tax deduction. Yeah. So I'm saving $1, or I'm spending $1 to save 30 cents. That doesn't make too much sense. So for me, it was about reining in the small dollars. And as we said before, it's all about small things cared for. So once I could be trusted with smaller dollars, the bigger stuff showed up. So the cash diet was huge. And what happened is, because you know how it is, like, you had a good day, and your little voice is like, you had a good day, Cary, you should go do that. And then your little voice is like, Cary, you had a bad day, you should go do that. And so you got, and for me, it was just eating out and coffee and cocktails and all that. And so we did that cash diet for 90 days, and I realized I don't need any of it. And And then another good book, not to throw too many books at you, but a book called Your Money or Your Life. Unbelievable book. Very technical. Some colleges use it in their curriculum. But Cary, it's the best definition of money I've ever heard in my life. Money is something you exchange your life energy for.
Yep.
Money is something you exchange your life energy for. So if you're blowing money on stuff and you connect it and you're like, you know what, I just bought that and I just exchanged, let's say you're $50 an hour, whatever, and you just bought something that's $1,000. You just exchanged 20 hours of your life for that.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? If it was, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, then just that awareness. And so just to be technical with you on that, it was really getting rid of blowing money that was not, every dollar was either going to move us closer to our unifying goal of saving $100,000 or further away. And that moment by moment awareness, dude, it was transformational. That $100,000 goal, single best goal I've ever set in my life.
Yeah, man, that's some really great advice. The cash diet, is this your own phrase? Because that needs to be trademarked, because that is phenomenal. I mean, you need to write a dang book about that, because like that just hits, it's like, I even look at, my kitchen and all the things there. I look at my garage, all the things there. I look at my office, all the things there. And it's like, we are just such consumers, a lot of us out there at least. And you just consume and you get a little dopamine hit and then a little serotonin. And then you're like, oh, that was nice. And then you forget about it. It's like when you get I got my new truck and I'm like, this truck's awesome. Now it's like, I could get a new one, because it's like it goes away, that feeling. But if you really think about how you manage the small dollars and how you're actually oftentimes wasting it, I actually love the term money is stored energy. It's similar to the exchange for your life energy. I actually did an episode on this exchange of value and your stored energy. So like what a fiat currency truly is, cash, let's say the American dollar, is a way to store energy. And like you said, life energy, I think it's a very great concept. And when people can understand, you are trading your time, which is finite. It is the most precious commodity you have, bar none, right? When you trade your time for money and you get a currency in exchange, and then you spend it on frivolous items, you are wasting your time. And it's like, it's a mind-blowing concept, but one that can change your whole perspective of reality if you actually think about, this concept. And I always like to put things through the filter. Is it a want or is it a need? And I've been very much, chopping wants out, especially now with, my reality, which I haven't broke public, yet, but Chris knows. I got some exciting news, and it's like it changes your perspective, life news like this. So I'm sure some people can guess it, but I'm not going to say it yet. But anyway, it's just exciting to kind of have this conversation with you, Chris, because it really, I hope all the happy hustlers are out there like, this is a complete reframe. So it's powerful stuff, man. And that couples money book, you have it on your website as well, right? The chrisfelton.me.
Yeah, I mean it's getting over there. So
okay.
I'm putting all this together, but it's definitely on Amazon and it's on Audible.
Okay,
for sure. So
yeah. This is awesome, man. I do want to put you through what I like to call the happy hustle hacks round, and then we'll get into the rapid fire section, and then we will wrap this interview up. This is essentially a tip, a tool, a tactic that you might do that's a little unique in a couple different disciplines. First being health. In order to think and grow you in any capacity, you have to be healthy, right? And both mentally, physically, emotionally, right? I'm curious, do you have a happy hustle hack in this arena that you could share with the happy hustler, something that you do in regards to health that maybe is a little unique?
I would probably tend to the mental health side, and I shared in the book centerpoint.com, Holosync meditations, and there's a website called learningstrategies.com, and something called paraliminals are unbelievable ways to Holosync to quiet my brain. I have a pretty peaceful mind, right? And so that became one of my goals. Was I wanted to quiet my mind down, and then I got handed, hey, here's Holosync, here's Centerpoint, and just doing it while I was sleeping. I couldn't sit around and meditate for an hour because I had a lot going on. Was transformative. And then when I found paraliminals, unbelievable. There's a paraliminal in there called Perfect Health. It's about 22 minutes long. Anytime I felt like I'm getting sick during the pandemic, some of that was mental, I would take a nap, throw in the Perfect Health paraliminal, and boom, bounce back. But there's paraliminals for money mindset, belief system, selling. It's well over 100, some of the best personal development tools on the planet. And I have QR codes in my book for it because I believe so much in it. Heck
yeah. That's I've never heard. I've heard of Holosync meditations, and I've done them. But paraliminals, I'm really interested. I love that you said this. This is why I even asked the question, because it's how else would we know some of Chris's secret sauce, Yeah. And so that's why, and it's great that you have the QR codes in the book so people can find them easy. I do want to ask about money. We talk about money a lot. We have, talked about it in the body of the interview, but I always like to ask a happy hustle hack around money when it comes to maybe saving or investing or spending wisely, something, again, a little unique in this area. You've given us a lot of gold already, but do you have anything that comes up in this arena that you feel called to share with the happy hustlers?
Yeah. I think just to kind of close the loop on the couples money conversation, Marlo created fun accounts, fun funds. So one of the challenges is when you're saving money, if you don't have money allocated for fun, you'll sabotage, you'll blow up.
Yeah.
And literally it was her idea. And she said, hey, here's X amount for you every month. I'll get the same amount. As we start hitting some goals, I'll increase them. But that was the money I used to go see my kids, to pay for their baseball, to have experiences, because my kids were apart from me. But I was able to use that money, Cary, to go see them every 4 to 6 weeks. Now they're 21 and 18. We have an amazing relationship. And so also because of that, I didn't go out and do stupid happy hours or go blow money on stupid stuff, because people are like, hey, you want to go do that? I'm like, yeah, you're taking away from my fun account that's allocated towards my family. Let's just go have a coffee. Let's go do this. Let's whatever. But the fun, I can tell you exactly how much money's in that account right now. And she just gave me my allotment for the month. Cause I'm like, where's my fun money? Because I gotta go see my kids, and I gotta go see my kids. They're both at Vanderbilt in Nashville. I'm like, I gotta get on a plane. I gotta book some flights. So the fun account kept us from revenge spending. Right? She'd go blow money. I'd get pissed off. I'd go blow money. We call it financial infidelity. So the fun accounts have been amazing.
Yeah. Super sage words there, my man. I love the fun money in that account, because really at a deep core level, you do sabotage if you don't have something to look forward to oftentimes, so that's key. Let's talk about spirituality. I think it's really important to have faith in something bigger than yourself, especially as a happy hustler. We talk about our sixth alignment, or the fifth alignment is mindful spirituality. I don't really care one religion or another. I just think it's important to have faith in something bigger than yourself. Do you have a happy hustle hack in this area that you could share? Maybe some way that you connect to a higher power, something that you do?
Yeah. There's a chapter in my book called Get Spiritual, and it's my journey of what I did. And, I ultimately became a Christian about 6 years ago. But it was kind of being more open to new age stuff that got me, to where I needed to be. But it is just like with any relationship, you got to allocate time. So whatever that is, but it's a big part of my morning routine where I sit quiet, 22 minutes. I don't know why I chose 22 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's 22, if it can be 2, but it is non-negotiable time where, I am quiet. I pray, I do those things to fill the tank. But you can't. I don't think you can be spiritual. I mean, you can be. I mean, we're all spiritual, but I don't think you can really maximize it if you don't allocate the time.
Yeah, I agree. You got to make time to connect and just to tap in. I pray every day. I have my mantras, and, I've been finding God more and more. Just, I think it's really important to have that a part of the equation, as you grow, think and grow, you got to have, God a part of it. So that's powerful. Amen. All right, man, this has been awesome. I do want to ask you the rapid fire round question. So this is where I just ask you random fun things and you just answer honestly first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite food? Go.
Pizza by a mile. I could eat it all day long.
Nice. Favorite movie?
Caddyshack.
Favorite book?
My Bible.
Yeah, there you go. Favorite workout?
Running.
Best business advice?
Relax.
What's your spirit animal?
Tiger.
Oh, nice. 3 things you're most grateful for?
My connection to God, my spouse and kids, and my health.
Love it. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that billboard read, Chris?
Trust. It's going to be okay.
Crush that rapid fire round, my man. Hey, Chris, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you, brother, for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, and this powerful book of yours. I mean, Think and Grow You. This is some next level powerful stuff. And I hope people are actually hearing it and then take action upon it. And I just appreciate you being vulnerable with your story. It's not pretty, some of the pieces that you've shared, sure, but that's human. And I think people really can resonate with the human nature of, hey, shit happens and we pick ourselves up and we keep going and we love ourselves through it and we find happiness within the hustle, joy within the journey. Right. So I just appreciate you, man. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Cary. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. Give people out there, again, just a final, call to action and mention again where people can go and pick up a copy of the book.
Yeah, I think the messaging through the book is, we have to humble down. We have to be willing to change. We must do the work every single day, but the work is going to be worth it. It's always worth it. So just do that. And the book is written in a way that it's going to guide you. And it's, my goal when I wrote it, it's an ongoing resource. It's not a book that you read and you put it on the shelf. It's like, hey, I'm challenged here. What was Chris thinking about that? What are the steps he did to get out of his own way? And you can find it at chrisfelton.me.
Love it. chrisfelton.me. Think and Grow You, guys. Pick up a copy of this book. It is going to be a positive catalyst in your life. That's for sure. Now, Chris, last question, man. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Loving the journey, man, and impacting as many people as you can in the process in a positive, powerful way.
Ooh, mic drop. Chris Felton, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everyone.